specific speech on our development and a little bit of our economic history, which is very important. And I would like to go into more detail about why a lot of countries have chosen Mexico in order to invest and put a platform of technology and of course industrialization and production. So I think the most important things to take to see on an economy are, in my point of view, three. That is the interest rates, that is the inflation, that is the exchange rates. So Mexico has been managed to have these three most important variables stable in the last 10, 12 years. So that's why, as Flor de Lis said, our economy has boomed in terms of production, of industrialization. So you see there that we have, on the blue line, we have low inflation, and it's been low since 2002. And of course, companies that want to invest in Mexico see, okay, where is my investing going? If I'm going to lose price on my machinery, on my actives, on my inventories? No. We've managed to have low inflations under 4% on the last 10 to 11 years. Of course, this has allowed Mexico to have production, manufacture, and increase their manufacture, even on the times of recession in the US. So we've managed to have a stable exchange rate as well, which is not common when you have downturns on economy, especially on US economy, which we are very dependent on. So we've managed to have an international reserve of more than $169 billion, which allows our currency to be stable, allows the Mexican Central Bank to put money into the market when the currencies are up and down. So this regulates the currency, Mexico dollar, which is the most important, due to we have more than 80% of our production going to the US. So there you have a stable country, and that's been stable for more than 10 years. And obviously having this big reserve will probably continue to have flows on direct investment. And that you see a little bit on the history. You have, of course, the downturn of the American economy, 2008, 9, and 10. And you see that even if there's been a downturn there, we've been having stable and growth on the foreign direct investment and capital flows into Mexico. So, of course, I will go more into detail of why investing in Mexico, which are the opportunities, and what do we see that could be interesting for companies. Of course, as Flor de Lis said, we have more than 13 free trade agreements and access to 45 countries. And you have, we compare to some of the countries that have a lot of manufacture. Then you have Brazil, and you have Colombia, then you have China, US, and Chile. No? So we are, as Flor de Lis said, we are one of the most open economies in Latin America, or not the most open economy in Latin America, and having access not just to Latin America and the NAFTA region, but also to Asia and Europe. We've been doing a lot of manufacture the latest years. We have been prepared with infrastructure, which is important. Logistics are important, and that's what it's been interesting for all these companies that are bringing production from China or other parts of the world into Mexico. Why? Because we have the infrastructure. We have deep sea ports in order to facilitate import and export. We have there on the green sea, deep sea ports in Altamira, Tampico, Veracruz, on the Atlantic, and then on the Pacific we have Manzanillo and Lázaro Cárdenas. And we have other ports, of course, around the coast. But of course the most important is Altamira and of course Veracruz. We have of course 63 border crossings with the US. So if you go to the west, eastern or the west coast of the US or central, you have all these border crosses in order to reach the American consumers. So 64 international airports, 64 international airports. So we not just have Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey, which are the biggest cities in Mexico. Well, we have other interesting international airports that can reach production sites and other consumers. 230,000 kilometers of roads. So, and now we're investing a lot of money into railroads. So it's not just going to be the roads and the road transport, but also planes and railroads. Of course, you know the NAFTA, which I won't have to mention. A lot of Swedish companies are already in NAFTA and have been there for a lot of times, a lot of years. But it, of course, is our main business partner. And as I said, 80% of our production goes to the US and Canada. But if you go to the next slide, I can tell you why it's going to be so important to have a presence, to have a foot in Latin America. And of course, a lot of companies divide its production and have some parts in Asia, some parts in Europe, and some parts in Latin America. Of course, you see Latin America and the NAFTA region being one of the biggest in the world, if not much bigger than Asia in terms of consumption. So you see there that NAFTA together with Latin America will be, in the next years, the most important economy in the world. So, okay. What advantages does Mexico have? And of course, you see the average cost advantage. Why do we have all the automotive sector coming into Mexico? Because of this. Because we're close to the US, the main market. We have low-cost manufacture. We have a lot of space, of course, services, and we have, of course, well-trained and good working force, labor force. So these are some of the examples of costs, production and costs in other countries, and the advantage that Mexico has at 21% over other manufactured countries. Labor force quality, we've talked about it, so you can go ahead and go forward. Key sectors, of course, other than this, we also find the ITC sector very important and growing. But in terms of manufacturers, these have boomed Mexico's growth, these four. The Mexican map, I always want to show it in my presentations. And this is the locations where we've had production in these four main sectors. And this is the center, which has a lot of raw materials, has more water, and of course technicians. And then you have on the north, you have the steel production in Monterrey, Saltillo, Torreón, Tamaulipas. Then you have Chihuahua. A lot of the automotive is also going there, and then you have Baja California. In the Tijuana area, we have a lot of companies. We have Bixo as well there in Juarez, and we have of course on the border for the logistics, easy access to the U.S. So go ahead. We have developed. I'm going to take a small pause from this presentation and let you know a little bit about what Promexico does and what we are being doing for the already established companies in Mexico, because a lot of you don't know what we do in Mexico and how strong we are in Mexico. Promexico has more than 400 employees in Mexico, and we have one office in every state of Mexico. So that allows us to be close to the production, to the consumer, and to the local government. So we give the opportunity for the companies to know the institutions, to come with the institutions with problems, with with, of course, investment, incentives for investment, and of course, we take them close to the producer. Obviously, having this knowledge of who produces in Mexico, where are the capabilities, and what companies are established where, and what do they produce, we have obviously identified these opportunities on the value chain. Big companies like Nissan, Daimler, Bosch, GM, on their production, they have a lack of all of these supply chain moments. So what? They still import a lot from abroad, and what we try to do is to make them more competitive through helping out on the value chain, and why not bringing technology and companies from abroad that can provide all these moments in the value chain that are not there, and that is high costly for the company. So this is on the automotive, this is on the electronics. So we have found opportunities of metal stamping, mechanical assemblies, and so on, that all these companies that have been established in Mexico will need. So this is an opportunity for small and medium-sized companies in Sweden that have the technology and can come in and supply all these momentums in the value chain. So as you said, the medium and small-sized companies in Sweden, they need to go global in order to grow. And this is the opportunity to go global. The big companies in Mexico will need all the value chain to form their local company. On the aerospace as well. And we can go on. And of course, having detected all these opportunities and having talked about the stable economy and the platform, this is the platform in which we believe Mexico will grow in the future. The major goals and strategies, Flor de Lis talked about the reforms, and we'll have experts talking about the reforms later on. But this is, I wanted to show you this because this will provide Mexico with the possibility to grow on the middle class and grow more stable and have an equality in the growth. Government close to people. There's been policies on helping out with social insurance to the workers, the universal insurance. Even if people are not working in a company, could get medical insurance, for example. This is new, totally new in Mexico, and this will strengthen the middle class and of course the democratization. Go on. We've been already talking about this, but these are my contact details. I will end with this, but have in mind here we represent Mexico and the Ministry of Economy, and we have a big region to cover. We have the 4 biggest countries in the Northern Europe, plus the Baltics, and we're a small office, but we are strong in Mexico. We can help the companies in Mexico and come closer to the states, to the local government, to the institutions, of course with the ACT model and so on. And of course, we've been close to a lot of companies who would like to extend to our partners the possibility of contacting and using Promexico in order to have a safe soft landing in Mexico and to use the institutions. So thank you very much for coming today, and hopefully we'll have more time to talk. And bienvenidos a México, and muchas gracias.